The new electric Mercedes C-Class is built inside the biggest car factory Mercedes owns anywhere in Europe. It sits on a stretch of Hungarian farmland outside a town called Kecskemét, and in barely 12 months of 2026, it has doubled in size. It now covers 440 hectares, roughly 600 football pitches, and it is the second largest car plant Mercedes runs on the entire planet. The first fully electric core model to roll off its new line is this car. But the real story here is not the C-Class. It is the size of the bet Mercedes just placed to build it. And the way they built this factory tells you exactly how nervous the whole industry has become about electric cars. This is how it is made. Rewind to 2012. Kecskemét opens on flat farmland an hour south of Budapest, and the first car down the line is a small hatchback, the B-Class. Nobody calls it historic. It is a modest plant, in a country better known for its farming than for its luxury cars. Then something clicks. The compact CLA arrives, and it sells everywhere. The shooting brake follows, then the little GLB. The plant learns to build a Mercedes cheaply, precisely, and at real scale. Over the next decade, it turns out more than 2 million cars, and its 5,000 workers become the single largest employer in the entire region. That 2 millionth car was one of the biggest industrial milestones the country had, and almost nobody outside Hungary noticed. But by the middle of this decade, Mercedes has a problem, and it is a big one. It has promised the world an electric future, and it needs somewhere to build that future without bleeding money. Its German plants are among the most expensive on earth to run. Kecskemét, it turns out, can build the very same car for a fraction of the cost. So Mercedes makes a decision that, not long before, would have sounded absurd. It takes this compact car factory in Hungary and turns it into the spearhead of its entire electric plan. 1 billion euros. 2 brand new halls, one for bodies, one for final assembly, a second press shop, a new paint shop, and, for the first time on this site, a full battery plant of its own. The floor space climbs from 200 hectares to 440. The plan is to lift output from just over 100,000 cars a year toward 350,000. The workforce grows from 5,000 people to nearly 10,000. And then, on a July morning in 2026, with the Prime Minister of Hungary standing in the crowd, the first electric C-Class body rolls into the new hall. That is where the story really begins. Because building an electric Mercedes from a bare shell is one of the hardest things a factory can do. And Kecskemét now has to do it hundreds of times a day. It starts, like every Mercedes, as coils of steel and aluminum. In the press shop, enormous stamping lines slam that metal into the shapes you would recognize: the doors, the roof, the side panels, several a minute. From there, the panels travel to the body shop. This is the loudest room in the building. Hundreds of robots swing around the skeleton of the car, laying welds and bonding lines faster than the eye can follow. A modern car body has thousands of separate joins. Steel and aluminium are bonded, riveted, and welded into one rigid shell, most of it in a shower of sparks in a matter of minutes. In between the robots, people work inside the body, doing the delicate jobs a machine still cannot. A bare C-Class shell takes shape in deep red primer, then rolls through a bank of scanners that check it against a digital blueprint, seam by seam. If a single weld sits a millimeter out of place, the system catches it before the car travels any further. Nothing moves forward until the body is perfect. From the body shop, the shell disappears into the new paint shop, dipped and sealed and sprayed in stages until the surface is flawless. This is one of the most energy-hungry steps in building any car, and it is where Mercedes has spent heavily to make the process cleaner. We will come back to what that actually achieved. And here is the part that makes this plant genuinely different. On the same line, the car in front might be a petrol model, and the car right behind it fully electric. Mercedes calls this flex production, and it is the entire reason Kecskemét exists in its new form. Most factories are built for one kind of car. This one refuses to choose. Then the body meets the thing that defines it. In a separate, spotless hall, workers build the battery, a 94 kilowatt-hour pack that is roughly the size and weight of a grand piano laid flat. And this is the clever bit. Mercedes assembles these batteries on site, a few hundred meters from the car they go into, rather than shipping them halfway across a continent. Cells become modules. Modules are sealed into a housing, and every finished pack is driven through a wall of test stations before it earns its label and moves on. Shorter journey, fewer things to go wrong, far more control. And the plant is doing all of this for one number that changes everything. Building a car in Kecskemét cost Mercedes around 70% less than building the same car at a comparable plant back in Germany. That single figure, more than any number on the window sticker, is why this electric C-Class is Hungarian and not German. It is also why the mood in Stuttgart is complicated, and we will come back to that too. While the battery is being built, another part of the line is preparing everything that sits on top of it. The underbody is dressed with wiring and cooling, and the entire cockpit, the dashboard, and its wide screens is lowered in as one enormous module. Then the two halves of the car come together. In a moment, the line workers actually call the wedding. The finished body is lifted onto an overhead carrier and lowered, slowly and precisely, onto the battery and running gear waiting below. Bolts drive home. The shell becomes a car. On the floor, they give it a blunter name, the marriage. And when you watch it happen, you understand why. Everything before this was two separate stories. Everything after it is one. From there, the car finally comes alive. The doors go back on, the glass, the wheels, and in the final stretch of assembly, a worker fits the three-pointed star to the nose by hand. It is the very last badge on something that began the shift as loose sheets of metal. Then the car rolls into a brightly lit inspection tunnel, where staff in white gloves run their hands across the paint and study every panel gap under the light. Nothing leaves until it is signed off. A black electric C-Class, gleaming, drives away under its own power. Hours earlier, it did not exist. If you find this kind of thing as fascinating as I do, subscribe. We take you inside the factories behind the cars every single week, and the next one is a story most people never get to see. Here is something the robots tend to hide. For all the automation, a plant like this still runs on people, and Mercedes has poured money into finding and training them. There is a dedicated academy on site, a Mercedes school, and a partnership with a local university, all feeding skilled workers onto these lines. The old worry that a car built in Hungary could never match one built in Germany has quietly died on factory floors exactly like this one. The hands fitting that star have trained for years to do it. For the region, this is not just a factory. It is the biggest employer for miles, and the reason thousands of skilled jobs are landing in central Hungary rather than in Germany. And the whole time, an invisible layer has been running underneath all of it. Mercedes has built a complete digital twin of this assembly hall inside a virtual world, so its engineers can test and solve a production problem on a screen before it ever happens on the floor. Cameras driven by artificial intelligence watch each car for the smallest defect in real time. If that sounds less like a car plant and more like a piece of software, that is precisely the point. There is a risk sitting under all of this though, and it is a real one. A €1 billion bet on electric cars only pays off if people actually buy electric cars. And for the last couple of years, they have not bought them nearly as fast as Mercedes hoped. Demand across Europe cooled. Mercedes itself walked back its own promise to go all electric by the end of the decade. Building a plant this large and this committed to electric is a genuine gamble, and everyone involved knows it. But this is exactly where the design of the factory suddenly makes sense. Remember that flexible line? The one that builds a petrol car and an electric car back to back? That is not just clever engineering, it is insurance. If electric demand surges, Kecskemét can build nothing but electric cars. If it stalls, the same line simply builds more petrol and hybrid models instead, and the lights stay on. Mercedes has spent €1 billion making sure it does not have to guess right. That is the answer to the question we opened with. The nervous energy in this industry is real, and this factory was designed to survive being wrong. Think about the scale of that gamble for a second. This one site is being built to produce up to 350,000 cars a year, and to employ close to 10,000 people. A huge slice of Mercedes' electric future now runs through a single Hungarian town. If the bet is right, Kecskemét is the smartest factory in Europe. If it is wrong, it is a very expensive monument to a future that arrived late. There is a harder edge to the story too. If Kecskemét can build a Mercedes for around 70% less than a German plant, that math does not stay quiet for long. Every car built cheaply in Hungary becomes a question mark over a job in Germany, where the workforce and the unions have absolutely noticed. The plant that saves the company money is, from another seat entirely, the plant that moves the work east. Both of those things are true at the same time, and that tension is going to shape Mercedes for years. So what actually rolls out of all of this? The car at the center of it is the most convincing electric Mercedes yet. The top version, the C400 4MATIC, carries a 94 kilowatt-hour battery. Its claimed range is 762 kilometers, or 473 miles, which is genuinely enormous for this class. It runs on an 800-volt system, so on a fast enough charger, it can add around 325 kilometers, 200 miles, in about 10 minutes. Two motors give it 482 horsepower, and Mercedes says it will reach 100 kilometers an hour, 62 miles an hour, in around 4 seconds. On paper, it is the quickest C-Class the company has ever built. Pricing starts a little under 68,000 euros, or roughly 58,000 pounds, with cheaper, longer-range, rear-wheel drive versions coming along behind it. Mercedes is not the only one making this bet in this corner of the world. BMW is finishing a brand new electric plant just a couple of hours away in Debrecen, on the other side of Hungary. The center of gravity of the whole European car industry is sliding east, toward exactly the kind of flexible, lower-cost site that Kecskemét has become. And this factory is not finished. The electric GLC will be built here as well, and so will a new, smaller G-Class. The site already generates a serious chunk of its own electricity from a solar park that covers dozens of football pitches. Its new paint shop, the one from earlier, cuts the carbon from that single step by around 80%. But the image that stays with you is a much simpler one. A worker, at the end of a line, in a Hungarian town most people could not place on a map, pressing a three-pointed star onto the nose of a car by hand. That star has meant German engineering for almost 140 years. Now the most advanced way to earn it runs straight through Kecskemét. If you want to see where this gamble goes next, the electric GLC that shares this very same line is the one to watch, and that story is coming soon.